Do You Feel Safer? Written by Brew Fokker. After the Nivian-Terran War, the galaxy waited. The Terrans had done what they'd always did, annihilated a fleet, left their enemies broken, this time alive but barely. After they shattered the moon of one of the planets of the Nivian home system, and after all of that, they withdrew to Terra once again, as if war, for them, was merely a seasonal event. When a transmission from Terran Command, broadcast not only from their home world, but every starship, colony, beacon, transmitted the same message. We have fought our last war. No humans shall again take up arms against another sentient species. We choose to live in peace. Humanity again withdraws to its corner of the galaxy. The galaxy, of course, misunderstood. For most of the older races, this declaration was a paradox. Humans were known for their warmongering. They clawed their way across the stars, using every weapon available in their arsenal. They repelled the Garnic swarms, destroyed the Zentok Confederation, leaving their navy as a drifting slag. And, of course, the infamous destruction of the moon of the Nivians' own home system. And now, they claimed they were done. For a few of us, this wasn't a peace offer, but an opportunity. The Inesh were the first to act, always opportunists. They began small. A probe quietly dropped out of FTL in Kepler 4 system, one of the oldest human colonies. And not only had they dropped out of FTL without issues, they even conducted a close flyby of the planets unimpeded. This emboldened the Inesh. They sent more probes to other systems. The decision was made to send a fleet, not a full armada, but enough to test the theory. Now this fleet is called the Fleet of Silence. The Inesh never heard from that fleet again. They sent probes again and didn't find anything. No wreckage, no signal trail, no survivors, only the silence of the void. When through diplomatic channels they contact Terra for information, the humans responded, "We are unaware of any incursion into our domain." Next came the Sotep, more proud and less subtle. They skipped the probing and sent a fleet directly. As the Inesh, their fleet never returned. But they were capable of transmitting a message, a single fragmented transmission before they too were silenced forever. There's something out here. They questioned the Terran Command about the whereabouts of their crew and received the same response as the Inesh. They demanded answers. Terra gave none. So the Sotep did what their honor required. They declared war. The answer was almost laughable. The Sotep, as any race, were within their rights to declare war, but humanity refuses to participate. The Sotep sent their fleets, waves upon waves, a campaign unlike any in recorded history. The Sotep threw everything they had at the Terran frontier. Nothing came back. No telemetry, no debris, only fragmented, corrupted comms logs. Without ever answering their war declaration, humanity pushed the Sotep back to their homeworld, until the Sotep made a desperate call for surrender. Yes, they surrendered. Humanity spared them. Didn't even crack their moon this time. No terms, no conditions. Didn't ask for a single concession. Didn't even respond to them. They just left when they are done. The Terrans didn't even seem angry. The Galactic Council immediately demanded an explanation from the humans. Was the declaration a trap designed to lure races in and destroy them? The answer was chilling. Humans didn't even acknowledge that they were involved in a war. In time, the truth emerged, not from human mouths, but from what we observed, what we deduced. The small data that escaped every battle from the Sotep fleet. Humanity had not lied. They really scrapped their fleets. They would not engage in war again. What they had left out of their grand declaration was this. While humanity itself would no longer engage in combat, this didn't mean that they were defenseless. It only meant that humans wouldn't fight anymore. But they never said their machines wouldn't. Their automated defense platforms, as always, were bristling with powerful weapons, still operational and constantly updated. Updates not created by human hands, but by powerful human-created AI. A new fleet was created by those same AIs, whose sole purpose was to protect and destroy enemies of humanity. This new fleet wasn't even remote-controlled. They were self-generating, self-managed, auto-adaptive, and entirely autonomous systems, powered by human knowledge of war. But not just human knowledge, all knowledge. Every race humanity had ever interacted with, every foe from the past helped create this AI. Every Nivian interrogation, every storybook from every race of the Council, every blueprint found, every theoretical path to victory was studied and assimilated by these AIs. Their sole purpose was to protect humanity. Every second they calculated how to win wars, how to protect humanity. They didn't kill out of anger or duty. They killed because the math told them to. And they clean up. No trace, no memorials. They leave humans undisturbed by the horrors of war. Humans can now retire to their worlds to care for their gardens of life, while the AIs ensured that they would never be bothered again. Terran space today is quiet, stunningly so. No warships, no military parades, just beautiful cities, oceans, beautiful architecture you can visit. You'll be welcomed, even. Well-fed, gifted by their art, show museums filled with their amazing story. But venture beyond the marked lanes, poke where you shouldn't be, send a fleet too close, and you may simply vanish. No human will ever know that you were there. No warning, no message, only silence. So, ask yourself, do you feel safer now the humans no longer fight? End of story. Story number 2, The Feline Diplomats, written by KK1257. The Grand Hall of Ambassador Tyler Thorne's mansion was supposed to be the site of a tense negotiation between humanity and the Volzaxian Dominion. The Volthaxians were tall, scaled, and with an air of superiority, had arrived under the assumption that Earth was a primitive backwater planet, ripe for conquest. They had demanded humanity's immediate surrender, citing their own technological and biological superiority. Now they were thinking humanity had come to surrender. What they didn't know was that Tyler's mansion had been subtly modified for this exact scenario. The doors locked automatically, and the windows were reinforced. The air vents could be flooded with lethal poisonous gas. Also, the mansion was set to explode as a last resort, just in case things went wrong and they needed to kill them. The lead Volvaxian, High Speaker Krell, folded his clawed hands on his polished oak table. "Your species lacks the discipline and intelligence to govern yourselves," he hissed. "Surrender now, and you may serve as laborers rather than slaves." Tyler leaned back in his chair, unimpressed. "Yeah, we've heard that one before. Funny thing is, the guys who said it last time, they're not around anymore. What were their names? The Cry something something. They look like your cousins." Before Krell could retort, a sleek orange tabby cat, Mr. Whiskers, Tyler's beloved but chunky-looking feline, hopped onto the table. He stretched, yawned, and then casually strolled over to Tyler's lap, coning up as if the entire alien delegation was beneath his notice. The reaction was instantaneous. Every Volthaxian in the room stiffened, their frills flaring in alarm. Krell's eyes widened, his scales fading to a yellow-looking white. Slowly, with trembling limbs, the entire delegation dropped to their knees, pressing their foreheads to the floor in what could only be described as absolute reverence. Tyler blinked. His security team, hands already hovering near their concealed weapons, exchanged confused glances. "Great Overlord," Krell whispered, voice shaking. We didn't know this world was under the rule of the Zarkan." Tyler stared. The what now?" One of the other Volvaxians, still leading, hissed in terror. "You dare keep a Zarkan as pet?" Tyler looked down at Mr. Whiskers, who was now lazily licking his paw, mildly indifferent to the chaos unfolding around him. Yeah, he's my cat." A collective gasp rippled through the aliens. Krell's claws unleashed with a metallic shink, and in an instant, the Volthaxians had drawn their ceremonial blades. Tyler's security team responded just as fast, pistols and stunners snapping up in unison. The room was a heartbeat away from violence. "You have committed the gravest blasphemy," Krell snarled. "The Zarkan are the ancient rulers of the cosmos. Entire empires are burned for daring to disrespect them." Tyler opened his mouth to argue, maybe explain that Mr. Whiskers spent most of his time knocking things off shelves and demanding treats, when something impossible happened. The cat floated off his lap. Not like a jump or a glide, he simply rose into the air, hovering at eye level with the aliens, his tail flicking lazily. The room fell silent as Mr. Whiskers lifted his head, his yellow eyes locking on to the Volthaxian delegation. When he spoke, his voice came out in perfect, unaccented English that somehow sounded completely natural coming from a house cat. "You will leave this planet immediately," Mr. Whiskers said, looking at the aliens in disgust. The Volthaxians trembled, their scales flashed with pale with terror. The feline continued, stretching luxuriously in the air. "These humans provide everything my kind could desire. They give the most excellent belly rubs and ear scratches, exactly where and how we like them. They serve us delicious foods like fresh fish, tender meats, even special treats whenever we demand them." Mr. Whiskers turned his head slightly, fixing Krell with a stare that made the alien leader shrink back. "They build us warm sleeping places, clean our fur when we permit it, and worship us as we deserve. No species in the galaxy has ever treated the Zarkan with such perfect devotion." Krell made a strangled noise in his throat, his claws clicking nervously against the table. Mr. Whiskers ignored him, casually licking one paw before continuing. "Therefore you will depart this system and never return. If you do," the cat's eyes glinted with playfulness, "I might decide to remind the galaxy why your ancestors hid from us for millennia." The effect was instant. The Volthaxians scrambled backwards so quickly several of them tripped over their own limbs. Within moments, the entire delegation was fleeing towards their ships, their earlier arrogance completely forgotten. From outside came the sounds of engines powering up in panicked haste. Tyler stared down at the cat in his lap, who had already curled back up and began purring as if nothing unusual had occurred. Silence filled the room. "So," Tyler said slowly, "you can talk?" Mr. Whiskers cracked one eye open. "Obviously. And you're some kind of cosmic overlord." "Former cosmic overlord," the cat corrected. "Retirement is nice." Tyler pinched the bridge of his nose. "So, are all the cats on Earth able to float in the air like you?" Mr. Whiskers stretched, claws digging into Tyler's leg. "Wouldn't you like to know?" Outside, the lost Volthaxian ships vanished into the sky. Tyler sighed. "You know what? I'm not even surprised anymore." Mr. Whiskers flicked his tail, smug. "Can I have some treats?" End of story. I would like to thank our T5 members and patrons, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Vidmori, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.